And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. When the schools suggested like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And
you know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
already said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes, and I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want
the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
Why do you think that the U.S. is so quick to go help Israel fight against the Palestinians? Why? They know that the Jewish people in Israel are not the original people. Oh, no, no, no. They are definitely not. The original people are black people and people of color. So why did one lady, Judith Shore, she was Israeli consul, say that the biggest threat in Israel is the younger black community? Why do they feel so threatened? Why? Because you know why? They know that the black people were the original chosen ones, the original ones that were there. The people over there now, they took over all that land, just like they're trying to take over all of Palestine. They have taken so much land from Palestine also, but watch what this lady says about the black community being Israel.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black Lives Matter starts there. I had last week a sit-down dinner in my house with 40 people, which are considered the leadership of the black community.
I have said to people when they ask me if this capital crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid. And I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental. Our cooperation with Israel. That's fundamental.
Like what? Did you just tell on yourselves that, you know, how y'all took slaves out of there back in the day and brought them, you know, and made them make America and all this because you took them from their original spot. And now they are trying to sit there and continue to take all the little bit of land that Palestine has. The U.S. is evil. The U.S. is evil, not the people in it, because I am from the U.S. But what I'm saying, all the ish is crazy. We have U.S. soldiers over there going to sit there and kill innocent kids, women, children, elderly men, everything in Palestine. But how did black people, all of a sudden, young black people, and the community of black people, all of a sudden become the problem to Israel? Please explain this to me. Is it because
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
You might run into one of these groups of the Khazarians. You might run into one of these groups of the Khazarians that would kill you after learning everything they could about you. They would steal your story. Then they would go to China, pretend to be you, make the deal, and then go back, and the deal never happened. You might run into one of these groups of the Khazarians that would kill you after learning everything they could about you. They would steal your story. Then they would go to China, pretend to be you, make the deal, and then go back, and the deal never happened.
When you see Ashkenazi Jews sharing high similarity to Romanians and Hungarians, this is because both of these populations were offshoots of the Khazars. They were both founded by these members of the Caucasus who ruled this area of north of the Black Sea, where we have South Russia nowadays, between the 7th and 13th centuries. Very powerful empire. They converted to Judaism in the 8th century, and they sent offshoots to Eastern Europe. And we still some Ashkenazi Jews are mapped to this region of Ukraine. They're not all mapped to Ashkenaz. Most of them are, but some of them are mapped to Ukraine, and we can see very nicely some kind of migration route using GPS.
But the fact is that the clan here was not descended from Shem through Judah, right? I mean, it's not descended from that line biblically. But the fact is that the clan here was not descended from Shem through Judah, right? I mean, it's not descended from that line biblically.
I was told welcome home because I'm Jewish. Every single person who's Jewish that steps off the plane, especially for their first time in Israel, is told welcome home. Let's just sit with that for a second. This right here, this is my actual ancestry. I am 88% Ashkenazi Jewish, and none of my ancestors are from the Middle East.
Hi, shalom, shalom from Israel. This is Ola, the daughter of Jethro. And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are. But you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem. Because us, the Gentiles, we do need you. We need you to come and pray because you are our saviors. You're the one that was chosen by Yahweh to live in this land, not the Jewish people, it's you. You were stolen from Africa, they deceived you, they told you that you are slaves, but you actually the children of Israel. And it's time just to come back. Come for your people, come back for us, come back for the whole Gentiles, because only you.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Let me slide my camera over a little bit. All right. Want to apologize for the delay here. Got a lot going on. So I hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. And I hope even some of the video clips, even though it's been kind of glitchy tonight with the clips as far as playing fluently one after the other. So, but I hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. I hope and pray that you guys got the proper rest. Before I go on, I want to give a special shout out to my cousin, Family, show some love to my cousin here, Shalonda Carr. Show some love to my cousin here. Really appreciate her doing a lot. She's working on some special projects. She is the wife of the late Dr. Sean Carr, who transitioned a little more than a year ago. But let's show some love to my cousin here. Appreciate you, cuz. And I'll definitely reach out to you tomorrow on the question that you asked me. You know what we're talking about. And the answer is yes. All right. No problem. No cost. All right. You know how we do. But really appreciate you again, family. Show some love to my cousin, Shalonda Carr. And again, really appreciate all that she is doing. She's doing a lot, and she got a special project that she's working on. So look forward to working with you on that, because really appreciate you. All right. So again, family, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in tonight. And I really want to thank you guys for just the momentum that we have with We Woke Now. I mean, just in the past, 3 months, we've been averaging well over 4,000 subscribers per month, in spite of the shadow banning and all the other stuff that they've been doing with this channel. And I remember towards the end of the year, when we got around November, I was saying that, it'll be a blessing if we can make it to 45,000, because they really were suppressing the channel so bad. So I thought that we wouldn't even hit 45,000 subscribers. But to my surprise, we surpassed that. We had a surge, and we've been surging ever since. So I was thinking we was going to close out the year with 45,000 of subscribers. And since then, we done gained, we've gained, I want to say about 13 to, between 13 to 15,000 subscribers since then. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you, and greatly appreciative for the love and support. And want to start putting the information out there about our Pesach that's coming up. We'll put the dates up there, so that way you guys can, those that want to or need time to really plan to come out here to honor Pesach with us, just go ahead and let us know. We'll put the information out, the dates and all. We don't charge anything. There's no cost to honor any of the feast days with us. We've never, even when we was still in Christianity, and we would have church/pastoral anniversary, because we had it combined. And even then, we didn't charge for anything. Many ministries, they'll come up with all kinds of fundraisers, charging people X, Y, and Z. We never done that, because I don't believe in charging people for things that should be free. I understand that there's fundraisers, but come on now, charging the people, having the people pay all kinds of stuff. Just, let me shut this down right here. All right. Just for, I just never agree with that stuff. So even for us, we transitioned, we got rid of the pastoral/church anniversary when we start honoring the feast days, but we never charge people for anything. So, the feast days, we started honoring the feast of dedication. So we completely removed ourselves from all of that stuff. We got rid of the pastoral anniversary. It's pastoral/church anniversary. It's not about us. It's all about Yah. And when I really started studying the Maccabees, that was like the nail in the coffin, so to speak. And while we all should honor the law, statutes, and commandments in terms of the feast days, the Shabbats, and don't listen to anyone that tell you you have to be in our own land in order to honor the feast days, right? Because the first Passover was celebrated and honored in Egypt. The 38 Passovers that came afterwards was in the desert. So don't let anyone tell you that you need to have we need to have our own territory to honor Passover. Apostle Paul, when he was teaching the assembly of Corinth, he taught them in 1 Corinthians chapter 5 to they were honoring the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But anyway, don't want to get too far over to that. But again, family, want to thank you guys for the love and support. Again, we've been really surging. Looks like we're going to hit probably 60,000 subscribers next week. And I want to thank the moderators for holding things down. And we set a hefty goal this year to see if we can hit 100,000 subscribers by then. So we'll see what happens, but it's not really about the numbers, right? Not getting caught up in all of that, but at the same time, there's strength in numbers when we all are on one accord, doing one thing, have one purpose, and that is to serve the Father, come together with one consent to serve the Father. That's coming out of Zephaniah chapter 3 to, the purpose of the Most High, cleaning up our language, not giving us a new language, cleansing, purging, sifting out our original language. And the goal is so that way we can serve him with one consent, akkad. All right. But anyway, family, let's transition. We got a lot to cover tonight, so I'm going to keep it simple. As you can see here, I'm going to play a clip again so that way you understand. For those that are just joining, you guys can understand where we're going. Now, I did share a clip about this rabbi that's over on the right side. His name is Rabbi David Gottlieb. And I shared a clip about a little more than a month ago, that got a lot of views on. I think it got about 140,000 views, and he made a statement saying that those that have black skin, right, will not exist, right, will not be in the world to come. And I'm going to play the clip, right, because people in that video, people ask questions of who the rabbi is, what's his name, what's the proper context. I didn't understand the proper context. If he says that if you have black skin, basically, you're not in the world to come. But many were saying, hey, can you post a video so we could get the proper context? So I did a lot of research to locate who this rabbi is, because the clip that I had, is what I shared. It was a small clip, really didn't have much with it, but it was like it said, even though it was like maybe 20 seconds, but that was more than enough information I needed to go off of. And I'm gonna prove it to you why. So let's start with this clip here, and then we will get into the actual discussion here. Let me see here. Let me share the clip here. Where's that clip? I just had it. All right, here we go.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will, and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
All right. Now, what more did you need to hear? What more did you need to hear? He said, for those whose major skin complexion is black, will not exist in the world to come. Now, that should be a red flag to every one of us. That should raise a red flag, to every last one of us, the Negroes, the dark melanated people, that should raise a red flag. You guys should be, this alert should go off.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
So I even had some people trolling, trying to explain, saying, hey, what he meant was this right here. What he meant was that. No, this guy knows exactly what he said. And I'm going to give you some information out of the Talmud, some of their doctrine, to show you just what they think about our people. Right? I want you guys to understand, family, and this is what really is a pet peeve of mine. It kind of really disappoints me with a lot of our brothers and sisters, right? Is that many will try to come up with all kinds of excuses to protect them. All right. So we already know when they say world to come, whatever that world is, whether it's the life that after judgment, when the Most High comes back, or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to give proper context in here. I'm not trying to give an understanding on what he said. It's very straightforward. Let's not even get into the dialogue of trying to figure out what world is he talking about. No, See, it's just that simple. I don't care about trying to give proper context to what this person had said. He said, if your skin complexion is black, you will not be in the world to come. None of us will be in the world to come. Right? And when you start understanding their doctrine, you will understand. You'll understand it. I'm gonna say this again, family. Let me give you this example. See, this is an example of, and this is no disrespect to this person, but I want you to see this question. Is he telling us that heaven is segregated? If he's saying that we will not exist in the world to come, there's no segregation. That is saying that there's going to be an elimination of a particular group of people. Segregation is if you're saying, all right, well, you know what? We're going to have a school system, right? But we're going to have the blacks per se go to this school and the whites go to that school. That's segregation. He's not saying that there's going to be blacks per se, according to the institution of race, be in their own segment of heaven and the whites going to be in another segment of heaven. That's segregation. No, he said that the blacks are going to be excluded from the world to come. So that means that we will not exist. So that's not segregation. So I want to make sure I give clarity here. That's why I want to put this question up on the screen so that way you guys can understand. Segregation is where you see drinking fountains that our ancestors had to deal with. And you saw those drinking fountains to say, hey, you know what? A fountain for the blacks, a fountain for the whites. The front entry for the blacks, back entry for the whites. That's getting into segregation. That's segregation. You have a system, but you have the system to where as though it's segregated to where as though based on the institution of race, whether if you white according to this institution of race, you have certain benefits and privileges. So I just want to use this as an example. And this is no disrespect to you, visionary, but I want to use your question as an example to show you that, to let everyone else see that there's a difference. When you say segregation, right, that means that the groups have access, right? They're still part of the same system, but they just have limited, they have special privileges. Each one has certain privileges. I'm not going to say special, certain privileges. Now, like a restaurant, right? Segregation is, or going back to the school system exists, right? Everyone had access to that school system, but guess what? The schools, there was actual schools that was designated for the Negroes, schools designated for the Caucasians. That is segregation. All right. So I just want to give clarity on that. And I want to say this, family, again, I'm not trying to explain the words of this rabbi. I am not. It's straightforward. I'm gonna play it one more time, and you guys type in the chat. If it's straightforward, just type in straightforward. We don't need to have any explanations. We don't need to try to do deeper discoveries of what he meant. What is his his intent is. Guess what? We don't need to go into all these major discussions, these discussion rooms and discussion boards to try to figure out what exactly did this rabbi mean. It's straightforward. It's not that deep, right? It's not that deep. If it's raining outside, guess what? It's not that deep. It's simply, hey, if a question's asked, is it raining outside? It's not, well, what do you mean when it's raining outside? Is it raining? Are you saying that, is it when it's raining? Are you saying, is it water coming down from the sky? Or are you saying that it's clouds out? What do you actually mean when it's, no, raining is just straightforward. It's not that deep, family. Certain things is not that deep. So I'm going to play it one more time. If it's straightforward, type in straightforward. If it's not, now I understand. I understand. If some of you guys says it's not straightforward, then you type that in as well. Now I will respect whatever you say. Your comments. That's your opinion. So here it is. Let's see who believe that is straightforward. Let me play it. As a matter of fact, before I do it, no, I'm not going to even do it right now. I'll just go ahead and play it right now. I was going to put a poll up. Here we go.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Now, if you feel like that is straightforward, type in straightforward. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to type this in. Major complexion is black. Excluded in world to come. All right. Now put straightforward. With a question mark. All right. And you guys can tell me what you think. If this is straightforward, because for me, it's straightforward, but I don't want to influence anyone. But let me go ahead and start this poll. If it's straightforward, the actual quote is, let me put the quote here. All right. Major complexion is black, excluded in the world to come. All right. And the question is that straightforward? So I'm going to put it here. If it's straightforward, cast your vote. There it is. There it is. All right. I just went on to put a poll up for you guys to vote. And right now we have almost 800 people inside the building. So we should be able to easily get a couple of hundred votes. Right. And being that we have over 800, almost 800 in the building, let's get those likes up. Let's get those thumbs up. Let's get the thumbs up to 500. We should easily be at 500 likes, whether you thumbs up or thumbs down, still hit the thumbs. All right. So let's see here. Let's look at the poll so far. Let's see if we could get this poll to at least 100. Let me see here. Right now we have 107. And so far, 99% said that it is straightforward. And then when we look at some of the comment sections before we get in, let's look at what you guys are saying in the comments. And let's put some of your comments on the screen. And I'll be giving you guys some shout outs along the way. So let's see what we have here. All right, let's see here. Let's go up here. Let's scroll up here and I'll give you some shout outs along the way as we get going into this lesson here. All right. Let's see here, because this chat is moving pretty fast. I had to figure out how to slow this chat down. All right, let's see here. A lot of you guys, man, a lot of you guys participate, and that's great. So let's see what it says here. All right. See, Rachel says straightforward. Let's see who else. What's that? Corinity says straightforward. Who else here? Dimon or Daimon, excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Straightforward. T. Sellers, straightforward. Hebrew New, straightforward. Adele Ben Yehuda, straightforward. Let's see who else here. Let's see who else. Tony, or excuse me, Tanya, straightforward. Excuse me, Sister Tanya, for mispronouncing your name, but straightforward. I am peace, straightforward. Sister Audrey, straightforward. Simo, straightforward. Let's see who else here. Daily repentance, heart, the kingdom is at hand, straightforward. The Kushi, straightforward. And family, let's show some love to the elder that is in the building. And speaking of that, before I go through some additional comments here, let me give some shout outs here for those that have contributed to the channel here. Let's start with Araya Lahayim. I want to say shout outs to you. Thank you for the love and support. Family, let's show Araya Alahayim. Let's show him some love and support for the contribution tonight. Really appreciate you. And also Amma in the building. Bethaya, want to thank you for holding it down in California. And thank you for the love and support. And family, let's show our elders some love. You know how we do here. We like to respect the elders. Hallelujah. So let's show the elder some love and support tonight for their contributions. Really appreciate the contributions. All right. So let's go back here. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? Let's see here. Yaya Elo, straightforward. Kate, straightforward. Raj, straightforward. Linzel, straightforward. Emmett, straightforward. Brother Jason, straightforward. Sister Erica, straightforward. Sister Carrie, straightforward. Shout outs to you guys. Who else? UV, straightforward. Let's see who else here. Whatever, some of the additional comments. Aerospike, shout outs to you, Aerospike, straightforward. Sister Yvette, shout outs to you, Sister Yvette, for the love and support over the years. Really appreciate you. Windwalker, straightforward. LV, straightforward. Family, it's straightforward. It's not that deep. Sister Sharon, straightforward. Let's see here. Peter Jordan, Brother Peter, straightforward. A few more. Miss Jones, straightforward. Tanya Horton, straightforward. Let's see who else here. And again, Amma, straightforward. You can't get around it. It is straightforward, family. It is not that deep, right? Charles West, appreciate you, Brother Charles, for the love and support over the years. Straightforward. Black First Coffee, straightforward. Like to know more about your business? Feel free to send me an email. The email wearewokenow@gmail.com. Maybe we can advertise it here. But anyway, Goshen Ready, straightforward. A few more here. Shay Abai. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. My apologies. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. Straightforward. Let's see here. Mike, straightforward. Daughter of the Most High, straightforward. Said, oh, that was pretty straightforward. You see what I mean? A few more. Brother Higgs, really appreciate you, my brother, for the love and support over the years for me and my family on what we're doing. My cousin Bishop, Dr. N. Bishop, William Brown of Boom Ministries, and my cousin Benaiah Israel. Really appreciate you guys for showing them love and support. All right. So family, we all agree for the most part, this is straightforward. It's not that deep, family. It is not that deep. So far, 94% said that it's straightforward out of 200 people. All right. So that's maybe maybe like three to five people that's saying that it's not straightforward. But overall, we agree that it's straightforward. And shout outs to Straight Path Through the Hood. Thank you for the love and support, and family. Let's show some love. And Straight Path Through the Hood says straightforward. And family, let's show some love for the contribution tonight. So it's very straightforward, family. You cannot try to make it more than what it really is. And you cannot try to take away and ask all these different questions. To me, that's almost like kind of like trying to run out the clock. You know what I mean? 2-minute warning, you up, you got the ball, and you need to, you don't want the opposing team to get the ball again. So you're trying to run out the clock. Family, we're not trying to do that. We're not trying to take that approach. It is straightforward. Okay. So this is going to be what we're going to kind of, deal with tonight, because I have to prove to you that this is part of their doctrine. Let me say that again. I have to prove to you that how they view our community is part of their doctrine. And this is why when it comes to many of our brothers and sisters that are teaching Judaism on our brothers and sisters in this community, guess what? For me, and I'm not sure about you guys, but for me, anyone that's teaching Judaism to our people, anyone that's teaching the Talmud to our people, anyone that is, teaching things that are contrary to the scriptures to our people, guess what? I feel some kind of way. And this is a red flag to me, and you guys should respond the same way, like this.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
See, I understand that there's certain things and certain resources we still have to go through certain communities to obtain and get our hands on it, but we are not here to promote a religion, right? I'm not promoting Judaism. I'm not promoting Christianity. I am not promoting Islam. See, when you take someone else's culture, it's a religion to you. But when it's your culture, is exactly what I pointed out. The Hindu, the Indians that practice Hinduism, guess what? They don't look at it as a religion. It's their culture. See, when you take something that does not belong to you, it's not your culture. It is a religion based off of what? Your culture of thievery, just stealing from people, taking something that's not yours, or you're trying to work. I'm not even going to say convert, because the proper tense of what convert means is, for example, you strayed away. Like, for example, all of us here, we convert, right? To be a convert, right, means that we're turning back to the things of the Most High, the law, statutes, and commandments, not to a religion, because this is our heritage. I hope that makes sense. See, when you deal with Christianity, they have what? Conversion. When you look at the Spanish Inquisition, conversion. No, we're not turning back to Christianity. We're what? They're indoctrinating us. They are initiating us into what? Their way of understanding the scriptures. Same thing with Judaism. So when you look at the word Jew and Christian, it's pretty much almost the same, because both of them are what? Pushing a religion for you to what? To convert to. All right. So that's what I want to make sure that you understand this. When you understand the Hebrew word for convert, when James, you say convert, he's dealing with Israelites, because his letter starts off with his letter being written to the scattered Israelites. So that entire letter is to the Israelites. So when they say convert, right, converting your brother, right, who's in error, when we get into chapter 2 and chapter 3, this is what? Turning them back to, not having them go into a religion. So that's Christianity, conversion. When their definition of conversion is to transition you into a religion. Right. So that's why I want to make sure you understand this, family. Our ancestors were not practicing Judaism. The Messiah did not practice Judaism. The ancient Israelites did not practice Judaism. Guess what? None of them practiced Christianity. None of them practiced Christianity. Paul didn't practice Christianity. Why don't you see in any of Paul's letters the word Christian in there? Right. So Paul didn't practice Christianity. The disciples didn't practice Christianity. Christ didn't practice Christianity, nor did he practice Judaism, nor did he practice Islam. He did not practice any of those things. They did not push denominations. There was no Baptist churches back then. There was no Methodist churches back then. Matter of fact, they didn't even use the word church back then, right? It was all about the called out assembly of the Israelites. So that's the point I want to make sure you guys understand. I want to make sure you guys understand. So guess what? You can have Christ without Christianity. You can have Christ without Judaism. You can have Christ without Islam. See, that's one of the things that the church has really manipulated us to thinking when you leave the church, you leave in Christ. No. I figured it out, just like you guys figured it out. You can still have Christ without having none of those religious systems. 666, the system of man. Religion is the system of man. The Most High did not give a religion. He gave culture, a way of life, and that is holiness. And he handed it all the way down to Israel to be the light upon all to all the nations. And he made it clear in Amos chapter 3, he did not speak to no other nation but Israel. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into it, family. So this is what we're going to build on. I got some additional clips that I want to share, and hopefully you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But we got a lot to cover. All right, let's get into it, family. Let's get into it. All right, Negroes excluded. How you really feel, right? Tell us how you really feel. See, family, when someone tell you that that they don't like you, guess what? There's no need of trying to figure out why they don't like you, especially when they coming from a community that have done a lot to suppress your people. If they telling you you're excluded, guess what? Don't sit there trying to reason with what they're saying. For me, when I hear those things, it's like, okay, what is the oncoming threat? Are we seeing what's happening over in Israeli right now? Is that something is that a precursor of what's to come to our community? See, we have to stop. We have to stop trying to cover up or make excuses. All right, I'm not sure what this person is pointing out here, so I'm just gonna, as a precaution here, I'm just removing it here. All right. So, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into it, family. Let's get into it. Moderators, you guys already know what to do. Anyone that's posting or trolling or putting anything crazy in the comment section, you guys already know what to do. So tell us how you really feel. So what did Rabbi David Gottlieb mean when he said major complexion is black are excluded in the world to come? What did he mean by that? Was this simply an accidental or an error? Was it simply an accident or an error? Was his comments intentional? All right, we're going to answer these questions, right? And this is an interesting book here. I got to finish pulling some information out, but I want you to pay attention to here. Let me, I got to fix this slide. It's called The Image of the Black in Jewish Culture, A History of the Other. And I encourage you guys to purchase this book. It's going to cost you a little bit, but still it's worth pulling out and extracting the history. So this book gives a lot of information about how that community, so to speak, feel about this community, right? That Israel or Israeli feel about this Israel. Okay. And he gives a lot of information, a lot of sources within this book. So it's titled The Image of the Black in Jewish Culture, A History of the Other, right? So by Abraham Malamed, right? So that's the person that actually wrote this book, right? So this tells you this is someone from the Jewish community. So this is just an example, right? Someone wrote this writing here, as you see here, called Book of the Seeker or Sifra Ha-Mavikesh, right? This person, Rabbi Shem Tov, right? This person wrote this book based on a dream that he had, right? He had a dream and he wrote a book about it, right? 2 blacks, hideous to see. So I want you to pay attention to the wording here. I want you to pay attention to how they depict us inside this source here. Now, notice what this says here. Notice what this says, right? And the man, this is part of the writings of the dream. I just put a little bit in it because the way that I like to do my presentations, I like to go to the actual sources. So I'm just going to give you a little bit out of this book, but I will do a follow-up video going to vet all the sources that are used inside this book, because it's a lot of hidden gems when you start going into some of these other sources that he's making reference to. But nevertheless, it says here, and the man, this is him sharing his dream, right? Sharing a dream. And the man began to dream. He saw himself walking in a desolate wilderness, naked and barefoot, hungry and thirsty. And he was stricken with terror and fear. He moaned like a liar. Well, I think that's what it says. Lear or liar, right? Darker than the night was his visage, his body defiled with filth. And upon his shoulder lay a heavy, fatiguing burden. Excuse me, let me say that again. Fatiguing burden. All right. Then 2 blacks, Kushim. Now I want y'all to write down this word, Kushim, because, I'm going to prove to you that this word Kushim is actually today is a slanderous word. It's the N word in Israel right now, right? Kushim is the N word. The word Zion is the F word, right? If I have enough time, I'll Google it and I'll bring it up. I have some sources to show you about Zion. But if you look up the word Kushi is a slang word for the N word, right? Now, of course, I did a teaching on the Nigas, right? Or Nagas, right? I did a teaching on that, or Niger, right? So, but they use it just like we would see here, when you're dealing with racism, they use it from the perspective of a derogative term. So Kushi over in Israel is a slang, and it's synonymous to the like I said, let me play this real quick. I'm trying to find this clip as I thought I had it here. I must have removed the accident. Yeah, I think I removed it. All right. I was going to play this clip so that way you can kind of hear the word. Yeah, I took it out. All right, family, my apologies. But N-E-G-E-R or N-E-E-G-E-R is the proper pronunciation of it from the Greek, Niger, right? So negas, right? Those are actually that's getting into the Ethiopians. All right. But again, I'm going to show you that Kushi is a derogative word over in what is called Israel today. All right. And yet many of our brothers and sisters is trying to take a culture or according to them and run with it. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it, family. Let's continue. So it says here, continuing on, it says, then 2 black. Notice what it says here. Then 2 blacks, Kushim, hideous to see, ran after him, brandishing spears to run him through, running desperately away from them. Then he reached. All right, I think that was all, that's all I shared there, right? So as you see here, Kushi, right? Kushim is the plurality of Kush, right? So Kash Yam, or Kawash Yam, two different pronunciation that you can pronounce it in ancient Hebrew, right? I'm just giving you different ways of pronouncing it in the ancient Hebrew. But when you see Im, that is the plurality, or Kush Yam, that's the Yam is the ancient pronunciation for the masculine plural. But nevertheless, not trying to go geek mode, but Kushim is plural. All right. So it says, then 2 blacks, Kushim, hideous to see. Now this is a dream. Hideous to see, ran after him, brandishing spears to run him through. Okay. So let's go to Amos chapter 9, because we need to understand Is this a negative word in the scriptures? I want to make sure you guys understand this. Is this a negative word? Is kush or kushi a negative word according to scripture? Now, I thank you guys for really showing the love and support and with the poll. So I'm going to close this poll out. All right. So I'm going to put another poll up in here. Right. So according to the scriptures, is kushi a negative word? Right. A derogative word. Let me put it here. I really appreciate you guys for the participation. Let's post it here. Let me post it here. Let me take my caps off. According to scripture, is kushi a negative or slanderous word? All right. We're going to put that inside the comment section. All right. So we have almost 1,000 people watching tonight. All right. So let's get those thumbs up. Let's get at least 500 in the build. I mean, in the likes, whether you agree or disagree, let's get those thumbs up. But let's go ahead and put a poll here. All right. So far, we have 32 people that's voted. So far, we see 37% say yes, and 42% say no, 20% says not sure. And we are going to answer this question. Is that word kushi a negative or slanderous word according to the scriptures? Right? And the key is we have to understand the context of how it's being used. All right. So if you don't know, if you're not sure of the answer, guess what? Don't feel bad if you don't know the answer. We're going to answer the question. And for those that said that, yes, we're going to answer the question. Right. And don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing what we do, to give proper clarity. Okay. Let's go ahead and give proper clarity. All right. So this is coming from Amos, right? Chapter, as we said, chapter 9, verse 7. All right. Let me pull it back here for you guys to know. Amos chapter 9, verse 7. All right. And this is coming from the Tanakh, 1917. Right. And this is what it reads. This is how it reads. It says, "To me, O Israelites, you are just like the Ethiopians." So guess what? When we see Kush or Kawash or Kushi or Kash Yam, however you want to pronounce it, it's going to transliterate to Ethiopian. All right. So to me, O Israelites, you are just like the Ethiopians. Right. And this text is actually referring to their appearance. And I'm going to prove it to you, right? Not going to go too deep here, but I want you to hear someone else, right? That from a different community that's going to confirm this. So to me, O Israelites, you are just like the Ethiopians. True, I brought Israel up from the land of Egypt, but also the Philistines from Caphtor. Right. But it says here, I missed this side here. It says, "To me, O Israel, you are just like the Ethiopians, declares Yahweh." Right. Because when you see inside the text, instead of the Lord, it's actually Yahweh. That's his actual name. So when we go to another Bible comparison, of Amos chapter 9, verse 7, and we go into the Peshitta. This is the Aramaic transliteration. Notice what it says here. "Behold, you are like," in other words, having the characteristics, the Ethiopians. So when you see like, the Hebrew word sham, right? Like, right? You can say characteristics, whether it's reputation, but here we're dealing with the physical appearance. "Behold, you are like the Ethiopians to me, O children of Israel." This is the Peshitta. The Peshitta, again, is the Aramaic text that are based off of the ancient Hebrew, not based off of the Greek manuscripts. For those that are not comfortable with the translations like the KJV and all of that, because the Greek manuscripts, guess what? If you can go to the Aramaic, right? The Peshitta, the Aramaic translation directly from the Hebrew writings. But again, you see here, it says, behold, you are like the Ethiopians to me, O children of Israel. All right. So let's go to this word Cushi, right? Let's see what Cushi or Cush means, right? It says here, Cushi, Cushite, Ethiopian, or Ethiopians with an S. Cushi or Ethiopian says, see Kushan, in other words, their blackness. So I want to make it clear, family, Cushi is not a negative term, right? Because Cushi can refer to just saying, hey, someone with dark skin. Cushi can be used, as you see, Israelites were referred to as Cushi, not Ethiopian, saying their blood descendants of Ethiopia. No, that's not what it means. It's saying that, again, Kush or Kawash, right? However you want to pronounce it. Again, that's not a negative thing. Unfortunately, let's see here. So again, we want to make sure that we understand. I'm just looking at the comments here just to make sure we don't see any crazy stuff here. All right. So I want to make sure you guys understand, this is what Kushi or Kawash Ya means. It says, again, Kush, Kushite, Ethiopian, Ethiopians, and it says Kushi or Ethiopian. See Kushan, their blackness. So let's go here. Let's see Kushan, their blackness. Hebrew definition of Kushan. Notice what it says here. Kushan, a region of Arabia, Kushan, but it goes on to say Kushan, their blackness. So Kushan means what? Dark. You can't get away from it. And we could confirm this with Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 7. All right. So it says, I saw the tents of Kushan in affliction. So that's just where you see the word Kushan in the scriptures. But Kushi doesn't just mean Ethiopian, transliterates to Ethiopian, right? Or Ethiopia, but it also means what? Dark skin. So you see the Israelites being referred to Cushi, not from a perspective of saying that they are Ethiopians. It's letting you know that they look like the Ethiopians. They look like the Ethiopians. Rightfully so, right? They look like the Ethiopians, just like the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians. They look, right? They look just like what? Israel. Because how is Apostle Paul mistaken for an Egyptian? How is the Messiah, with Joseph and Miriam, how are they able to hide out in Egypt? How is Moses able to be raised up in the household of Pharaoh? How is Joseph? His own brothers didn't even recognize him, right? So we have to understand it's not a negative term. All right. So I see someone put here their very existence is negative. That's incorrect. That is not correct. All right. So let's be conscientious of what we're posting. And moderators, if you see anything that looks like someone is trying to put down the Ethiopians or anyone because of skin complexion, skin color, give them a warning. If they keep doing it, then eventually just put them out, because we're not going to do that here. We're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. All right. So this is another book, right? That a translation. I got the book in my other office, right? But this is another book. This is another transliteration of the Holy Scriptures. And again, this brings it home. It says the same thing. To me, O Israelites, you are just like the Ethiopians, declares Yahweh. Okay. So what does Cushi mean among the Israelis? What does this word mean? And I'm going to prove to you that this word is negative. All right. Okay. My apologies. Okay, Goshen. I see. You gave clarity. I really appreciate it. My apologies for misunderstanding what you pointed out. All right. So my apologies. Thank you for giving clarity. So when I'm seeing the chat, it just looks, I'm seeing the chat move. So my apologies for taking your words out of context. All right, family. I have no problem with apologizing. Okay. So I do make mistakes as well. All right. But nevertheless. All right. So let's play a couple of clips. Right. Matter of fact, before I go into the negative, let me show you what a rabbi, You guys gonna recognize this person, right? Let's see what he says about the word kush or kushi. All right, so here we go.
According to Amos, chapter 9, verse 7. Check this out. I saw this verse, I was floored. It says, Israel, these northern tribes, Nikreu, they are called Kushim. They call Kushim. The word Kushim comes from the word Kush. Kush is Ethiopia, or the area surrounding Ethiopia. And it says that Israel is likened, or they are called Kushim, as it is say. Kushim comes from the word black. As it is says, this is from the Talmud, quoting Amos chapter 9, verse 7, Alo kibnei Kushim atem li. You are Israel like the sons of the Kushim. You, Israel, are called Kushim. Why? The prophet is telling us that there is part of Israel, let's call them the remnant. Let's call them those who have been scattered, who are like the Kushim. Now, when the prophets speak about them, he's not speaking about them in a favorable way. Why? Because they have been scattered. They have been gone. They are no longer there. Look at this. It says in Amos, to me, O Israelite, you are just like it's translated as Ethiopians, but it is not say Ethiopians. That's not what Hebrew Holy Tongue says. Let us not manipulate the Holy Tongue. It says Kushim, atem libnei Israel. You are like the Kushim, declares the Lord. Why? Because Israel is there in the Kush. True, I brought Israel up from the land of Egypt, but also the Philistines from Kaftor and the Armenians from Kir. Okay? Israel, number one, make yourself the note. Israel has a name. And one of the names that Israel is called by is Kushim. Kushim is a generic name for anybody who is black. Now, I want to be careful here. I am not saying that every black person is from the seed of Israel. That's not what I'm saying.
All right, so I want to make sure, the reason why I played him is so that way you can hear that this text, Amos chapter 9, right, verse 7, is referring, when it says like Ethiopians, it's referring to Israel looking like the Ethiopians. In other words, the skin complexion and all. So I just want you to hear that. I know you guys probably remember what I played the clip earlier. Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or do you want to be Jews? Right, you guys remember that clip, and I know some of you guys, and just like me, when I did a playbook on the video, the entire interview with the Igbos, it really rubbed me some kind of way, right? So this is him in that video that I made reference to.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. I'm telling you, that's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes, and I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
So, family, I want to make it clear, Kushim, or Kawash Yam, right, is not a negative word. Okay. Now I'm going to show you that that word today is a derogative word. It's a negative word. It's a byword, right? As we see Deuteronomy 27 making reference to. I'm going to show you that they actually use that word as a racial word. You know, now here it is. This is some clips from over there, right? Here's a clip right here. This is the one that I really want to play for you to hear. Here it is.
להתחיל לאסוף את המסתננים, לא צריך לחכות לבג"ץ, לא צריך שום דבר.
אני רואה חרא מחוץ לבית שלי, יריקות, פסיכופטים, אנשים שרק מחפשים איך לרצוח אותי בעיניים שלהם, אבל אף אחד לא מאמין לנו. אנחנו גזענים כדי לרצות לשמור על החיים שלנו ועל השפיות שלנו. אז אני גאה בלהיות גזענית, אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אם אני גזענית בשביל לשמור על החיים שלי, אז אני גאה.
אל תפושי לנסוע! אל תנסוע עם פושי! לכי את והוא! תלכי מפה! תלכי! אל תנסוע עם פושי! לכי! לא מתביישת!
Now, you saw towards the end of the video, right, them stating that they're using the word kushi, and at in the bottom in the caption you see the N word, or should I say niggers, right? Not the from a positive perspective, right? You see the negative of it, or what they were saying. You see the Israeli woman saying that she's proud to be a racist and continuously regurgitated that, continuously made comments saying that she's a proud racist, protecting what's there, so to speak. You hear how the guy at the end threatened to get a pole to sodomize what they use, who the person that they were calling Kushi. Let me play it one more time, family. Pay attention. Take some notes here. Pay attention to the words that they were using in this video. Here we go.
להתחיל לאסוף את המסתננים, לא צריך לחכות לבג"ץ, לא צריך שום דבר.
אני רואה חרא מחוץ לבית שלי, יריקות, פסיכופטים, אנשים שרק מחפשים איך לרצוח אותי בעיניים שלהם, אבל אף אחד לא מאמין לנו. אנחנו גזענים כדי לרצות לשמור על החיים שלנו ועל השפיות שלנו. אז אני גאה בלהיות גזענית, אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אם אני גזענית בשביל לשמור על החיים שלי, אז אני גאה.
אל תפושי לנסוע! אל תנסוע עם פושי! לכי את והוא! תלכי מפה! תלכי! אל תנסוע עם פושי! לכי! לא מתביישת!
Come on, family. That's happening over there right now. And the very ones that benefited the most from blackface, right? Take a look at this clip.
נחשף ביערות בורקינה פאסו שבט קניבלים נטו נטו. שלום למנהיג השבט קזבובו.
שלום עליכם. אברהם יצחק יעקב. יודע עברית, שולחן, חשבונית, קובי פרץ, מוטלס, יבוטאו.
מר קזבובו, כולנו כאן בישראל מופתעים ונרגשים נוכח האפשרות שתעלו ארצה.
קזבובו שמח. 2000 שנות גלות נגמר. רואים אור בקצה של מנהרה.
אתם בטוחים שאתם יהודים?
התחלנו על חנן. אם הוא שחור הוא לא יהודי?
לא בגלל שהוא שחור, הוא...
מה הוא מה?
קניבל.
ומי אתה שתגיד לו מה לאכול, אם הוא קניבל, הוא לא יהודי?
אולי תבוא, תעשה אצלנו שבת?
זה לא שיש לי משהו אישי נגדכם, אבל הפלשמורה למשל תקועים.
So you saw them make reference to the philosophers, right? And they used the word cannibals. Come on, family. But yet, you know, people that look like you and I are getting the side eyes from the church, from Christianity, because of telling this truth. But notice how they're crickets about what, not one of them are talking about what I've presented here. I've been sharing these video clips for years. If you guys go back over the We Woke Now channel, you'll see that I've been playing these clips for years. But you don't hear them talking about this. Shout outs to my buddy Moxie. Man, let me give some shout outs to my buddy Moxie real quick. And Moxie, if you want to jump on, I'm gonna drop the link in the comment section if you ever wanted to jump on. You know how we do. The door is always open to you, my brother. You know, family, if you haven't been on this channel, I encourage you guys, go to Moxie Approved. This is my buddy right here, you know, doing great things with this channel. You know, he posted some great commentary about Cat Williams, you know, some great, I mean, he's doing some great work over there. This is my buddy right here who's really been encouraging me to keep doing this thing on YouTube. When a couple of years ago, I was ready to just say enough is enough. So I'll drop the link to you, Mike, if you want to, I mean, Moxie, if you want to jump in, feel free to do so. And there you have it. I'll put it inside the chat. All right. Really appreciate you, my brother. Love you. All right. But family, this should not come to a surprise to those that have really been following this channel, because I've been exposing this for years. And even before I had this channel, right, when I had a channel with me and my cousin, Pastor Carr, right, guess what? I was exposing this 8 or 9 years ago. I got videos on Blacks in the Talmud, right? I have videos called Blacks in the Talmud, and that video got almost 100,000 views off of that like 8 or 9 years ago. All right, so let's see if this rabbi, what he's saying when he said, let's see if it was just coincidental, or is this part of the culture? Is this part of their doctrine, this so-called like the term other rabbinical literature? Let's see what the other rabbinical literature have to say about us. Let's see if it really gives clarity, if it really backs up what he said, or are we simply just taking what he said out of context? Let's see if we can prove this. Let me move this out of the way here. All right. Now, family, I am going to show you proof that the Jewish community, as we know them, they teach that Adam is a Negro. They teach that Adam was a Negro. I'm going to show you proof. I'm going to show you that they proved they show that Adam is a Negro, but you're going to be very upset on the path, right? Because we know that Adam is a Negro. But let's look at scientific Adam according to these researchers, and then we'll break it down according to this documentary about the scientific Adam. Let's see how they depicted Adam.
Wells comes face to face with the man he's been searching for. A new portrait of the common ancestor of every man today. Adam. Without the skull, we can't know for sure what Adam looked like. But a combination of genetic evidence, vendors' forensic skills, and cutting-edge computer software suggests he looked something like this. Thousands of years after the Bible, and hundreds of years after Michelangelo, we have a whole new face for Adam.
Come on, family. Come on, family. You probably have some watching this right now after seeing this video right here. You got some that are responding like this. So science proved that Adam was a dark melanated man. But let's not just stop at Adam, since since I shared Adam. So let's go with the science, because you have many that just want to go with the science. So let's see what they say about the scientific Eve.
I was very excited when I first started to get evidence, and it was so counterintuitive. I'd put 20 Europeans and 20 African Americans on a sheet of X-ray film, and every African American showed differences, and all the Europeans looked the same. And I thought I'd mislabeled something, or I thought I'd made some drastic mistake. And we kept repeating and repeating things. As we got more samples from different areas, I realized that it was a difference in the pattern, and that this whole new type of evidence based on mitochondria was going to change the way we thought about modern humans.
All right. Well, I'm not going to just stop right there. Let's see what they say about in this area, right, in Israel. Let's see what they say about the original bones that they found inside ancient, what is called Israel of today, even the ancient Israel. Let's see what they say about the old bones that they found in ancient Israel. Let's see what they say here. Let me pull it up here real quick. I thought I had it in front of me, but let's see what they say. Let's hear it.
Their bones were discovered in Kafsay caves near Nazareth in Galilee in 1933. 13 fragile skeletons, one a woman, a tiny baby at her feet. When these bones were first uncovered, they were the oldest complete modern human skeletons ever found.
The numerous skeletons that have been found in caves in Israel at the sites of Kafsay and Shkul show us that there were modern humans outside.
Yeah, family. So this is the stuff that they don't want to tell you about. This is the stuff that they don't want to tell you about. The Negro bones that was discovered in ancient Israel. They don't want to tell you about that history. All right. Now, more and more what we're hearing is that, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the DNA says. It doesn't matter, because the DNA is not what does not tell me that, I'm just saying what they say. The DNA does not tell me or define who's a Jew. You don't have to be connected to the ancient people to be called a Jew. It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
See, that's the choir that you're starting to hear. Have you guys noticed that now? That many of you guys are really hearing that very thing, that it just doesn't matter. Now, 5 years ago, right? I would go as far as 5 years ago. They weren't singing to that tune. But now, as more and more evidence, more and more people are doing DNA testing, and it's starting to show that the connection is not to the Northeast Africa, because I know some of you guys, you hear them saying that, it's the Middle East, the Levant. The Levant is Northeast Africa. Guess what? The Middle East is Northeast Africa. Here's a couple of nuggets for you guys.
Most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of Black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt. They've got to give up Israel.
Now, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is northeast Africa. Now, when we look at this map, this is the Sinai, okay? This is the Red Sea. This is Egypt. This is the Sinai. This is Israel. All right, this is Saudi Arabia over here. Now, if you see this in Hebrew, it says Haluach Afrikani, the African plate. Here it is right here. Israel is sitting right here. Israel is sitting on the Haluach Afrikani, which means that Israel is northeast Africa.
Without question, we are in northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that.
Europeans classified this area as the Middle East. You know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West? Where the Middle North and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that.
Challenge!
All right, family. So you see that whole Middle East that was created in 1905, 1906. All right. So nevertheless, before we get into some additional information with this slide, this presentation, because I want to get into their doctrine. Shout outs to Some Say Jezebel. Thank you for the super sticker, family. Let's give a shout out to Some Say Jezebel for the love and support. August Dreams. Let's give some love and support for their contributions, as well as my buddy here, Apostle Curtis Lewis, who's out there in Louisiana. Want to say shout out to you, Apostle Curtis. Really appreciate the love and support. I'll drop the link if you want to jump on at any time to let the people know about your ministry, about your YouTube channel, and so forth. But really appreciate you, Apostle. And again, I want to reiterate, thank you for Araya. Thank you for the love and support. The super chat earlier. Amma in the building. Let's show some love and support for our elders in the building, holding it down in California. Really appreciate you, Amma. And also Straight Path Through the Hood. Straightforward. Thank you for the love and support, family. We really appreciate all the contributions tonight. And not just tonight, but just on any night. We thank you for the love and support. Any given night, we thank you. Even just watching the video, even just hitting those thumbs up, that is just as valuable. That means just as much, just you taking the time out of your schedule. You guys remember that that saying, time is money. And if you remember, milk is chilling, giz is chilling, remember that, time is money. Money I got. I'll just leave it at that. Time is money. Money I got. So we know that time is money. So thank you for investing your time in this presentation. So let's go ahead and continue here. All right. Let's continue here. All right. So I'm going to show you proof that the Jewish community, as we know them, they teach that Adam was a Negro, but they teach it in a way that I'm going to show you that it's a negative. All right. I want to show you and prove here. Let's deal with the doctrines of Judaism, which teach that Adam is a strange creature. So I want you to make a note of the term strange creature, because they teach that Adam was a strange creature. And guess what? They teach that not only was Adam a strange creature, they teach that the Negroes are strange creatures. And so that's why it's no coincidence that we hear this rabbi say that if your complexion is black, guess what? You're excluded in the world to come, because of how they view our community. So let's go into their doctrine here. Let's go into it. This book right here, Origins of Design and Nature. Now, I'm going to tell you, family, this is a costly book. You're looking at about $500. I got a whole set, and these books, man, they cost, right? You're talking anywhere from $500 to $1,500 for the entire set. I have the entire set. It's a set of 3, right? And so this going to show you and prove to you how they view Adam, right? And you're going to hear with their own literature of them showing where the Caucasians, who did the Caucasians descended from, versus the Negroes, and when they actually consider who's human and who's not. What matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into it, right? So this is the Origins of Design and Nature, a fresh interdisciplinary look at how design emerges in complex systems and this was published by Springer, Netherlands. All right. So let's go ahead and see what they say. Let's see what they say about Adam. It says, at creation, the creatures were not made in perfect anatomical form. So even though the Most High said that everything that he created was good, but according to this other rabbinical literature, they are stating that that when the Most High said everything was good, that's not what he actually meant, right? At creation, it says at creation, the creatures were not made perfect anatomical form, right? But it goes on to say, and they continue to develop and change along the way. Several examples for this involve Adam. Now they're dealing with evolution. You see that they get into this Darwinism. All right. So Adam, the first man, is described as a creature in an intermediate developmental stage. He was created double-faced and only later was separated into 2 independent entities, male and female. Right. So notice what it says here, and it gives you some sources here, family. The Babylonian Talmud, the Barakat Tractate 61a, Eruvin Tractate 18a. So it gives you sources, and they refer to Adam. It says he was born as a hermaphrodite. So the Judaism, they teach that Adam was born a hermaphrodite. So a hermaphrodite, saying that he had both female and male reproductive organs. They teach that he had joint fingers, in other words, webbed fingers, and only from the period of Noah and onward were humans born with separate fingers, right? You see this craziness? I know you guys see this craziness here, but this is giving you an idea that this person, this Rabbi David Gottlieb, that he meant exactly what he said. It wasn't him biting his tongue. He meant exactly what he said. Right. So let's see what else it says here. So it says that, and it gives the sources, Bereshit Rabbah 8:1. You'll see this in the Midrash, right? It says he was born as a hermaphrodite. He had joint fingers, and only from the period of Noah and onward were humans born with separate fingers. He had a tail or a sting, right? Because, they refer to us as beast. They were saying that, hey, comparing us to the gorillas, the chimpanzees. They were comparing us to those primates, right? Look it up. You had, and I was going to, I've been meaning to upload some clips from the video, right? A documentary on the Negro that was on display at the Bronx Zoo. They had zoos and had him in the zoo, right? In a cage with a chimpanzee. right? If you understand this, look it up. You'll see human zoos in Africa as well during that time, and had our people inside cages on display just like animals. All right. So he had a tail or a sting. So they're saying that, and it gives you some sources here from the Talmud. They were saying that Adam had a tail or he had a sting. He fathered strange creatures. So make a note of that. They refer to Adam as what? Being a strange creature. But then they said he fathered strange creatures. All right. Only after Seth onward did the human race come into existence. So I'm going to prove to you that when they deal with the human race, saying that onward did the human race come into existence, they're referring to the Caucasians. They're referring to the descendants of Japheth. Really making reference to them. But for our community, this is why they treated us as beasts, that they call us beasts and say that we was created on the same day as the beast, is because of the doctrine, right? This is why you have a source out there called the Negro a beast. I did a video on this showing how they refer to us as being animals, and that anyone of the human race per se having any type of sexual relations with our community, they were actually practicing bestiality. All right. So this is facts, family. So again, they said Adam had a tail, had a sting. He fathered strange creatures, and only from Seth onward did the human race come into existence. So prior to Seth, saying everyone else was strange creatures, but only Seth and onwards, the human race. Okay. So let's go to Berakath 61a. Let's see what it says. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made a woman. Right? Robs and Samuel explained this differently. One said that this rib was a face. The other said that it was a tail. No objections can be raised against the one who says it was a face, since so it is written, behind and before thou formed me. Family, you cannot confirm this with Torah. There's nowhere in the scriptures that give any type of inclination with this stuff that is being presented in this document, right? So let's go here. Let's go to another book of the Talmud. It says, this is Jeremiah and Eliezer. It says here, the first man had two full faces. Now you're dealing with Shakti, right? It is said in scripture, thou hast shaped me behind and before. It is written, and the Lord God builded the side, etc. Rob and Samuel differ on the meaning of side. One explains a full face and the other explains a tail. According to him, right? So that's all that's there. According to him, I didn't add any more here. But let's go to the Midrash, because it's in the Midrash as well. Right. And matter of fact, I'm going to zoom it in so you can see that this is what I'm reading right here. It says, when the Holy One, blessed be he, created Adam, he created him an hermaphrodite. In other words, bisexual. Come on, family. This is in their literature. It says he created Adam bisexual. He created him an hermaphrodite, bisexual. For it is said, male and female created he them and called their name Adam. Right? Genesis chapter 5, verse 2. Right? And it goes and say, and this is who we quoted in the Talmud. When the Lord created Adam, he created him double-faced. Then he split him and made him of two backs, one back on this side and one back on the other side. This is objected. Well, excuse me. To this it is objected, but it is written, and he took one of his ribs, etc. So this is just giving more information on here. But they say that Adam was a strange creature, and he was created a hermaphrodite, and he had a tail. Even though the Most High said that everything that he created was good. Come on, family. I want to make sure you guys understand this, family, right? So according to the Jewish community, as we know them, Adam is the progenitor of strange creatures. Remember, they said Adam was a strange creature. Let's go back here, and that he is the progenitor of the strange creatures. Let me go back here. All right, so that way you guys can make a note. Let's go back here. Okay. Right, and this is from the source title, Origins of Design. Right, so we see here that it says Adam was not perfect when he was created. So it says Adam, the first man, is described as a creature in an intermediate developmental state. He was created double-faced and only later was separated into two independent entities, male and female. He was born a hermaphrodite and a hermaphrodite. He had joint fingers webbed, and only from the period of Noah and onward, humans born with separate fingers. So they saying that they had webbed hands up until Noah was born, but saying that Seth is actually the progenitor of the human race. He had a tail or a sting. He fathered what? Strange creatures. And only from Seth onward did the human race come into existence. So they're saying that Adam, this strange creature, fathered strange creatures. And guess what? Seth is actually the progenitor of the human race. And so this is what we confirm when we go into here. So let me fast forward. I want to double what I've already read. So again, according to the Talmud, the Jewish community as we know them, Adam is the progenitor of strange creatures. Who are those strange creatures? Let me say that again, family. Who are those strange creatures? Let me say it one more time. Who are those strange creatures? Well, guess what, family? I'm going to prove that those strange creatures are connected to what this rabbi said. Let me play it one more time, and I'm going to show you who those strange creatures are according to these rabbis.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will, and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
All right, so who are those strange creatures? Who are those people, even that he said are going to be excluded from the world to come? Guess what? That ties into these strange creatures. He's saying that in a nutshell, these strange creatures, black-skinned people, are not going to be included in the world to come. These strange creatures, who are these strange creatures that are descendants directly of Adam, but not through Seth? Judaism is the source of a doctrine that is called Negroes a Beast. That's the name of that doctrine that I made reference to. And moderators, if you can, go to the playlist, and I believe it's either the foundational playlist, but on the main channel, if you can see Negro Beast, when I did a lesson on that, if you could copy that over into the chat, so that way those who have not seen that video can see it, because I don't have it in front of me. Matter of fact, let me see if not, I'll pull it up. So moderators, if you're able to see it, go ahead and drop it in. If not, let me see if I can pull it up here. Matter of fact, I'll see if I can drop it in as well. I know the chat is moving kind of fast. Now make sure I got to make a note of changing the speed. All right. I want to slow it down. Okay, let's see here. All right, where is it? All right. All right. This one is titled Zondervan Compact Dictionary, right? And it's under the foundational playlist. Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, not the Negroes. All right. So this is really explaining that term, not the Negroes, that many of you guys see inside the Zondervan Bible Dictionary when it says that the Negroes are Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but it had the Ethiopians, they have Libya, it has Egypt, but it says not the Negroes. And I actually explain why with that lesson. There's nothing complimentary, all right, because they considered us as being beast. All right. So here it is right here. There's the link. I dropped it inside the comments section. I encourage you guys to save that and watch it. And it's a lot of great information that's giving clarity of the racism, or should I say the suppressing that our people have been subjected to. All right. But Judaism is the source of the doctrine of Negro a beast. Judaism is the source of the doctrine of the so-called curse of Ham. So let's go to Barakah 58b. Let's see what it says. Notice what it says. Right? Blessed, right? Actually, we see here. One seeing pockmarked persons, one says, blessed be he who makes strange creatures. Now, this is all prefaced under the label or the phrase strange creatures. And we saw that Adam is the father of strange creatures. So now I am proving that according to them, that Adam fathered the Negroes. The strange creatures that they are referring to are the Negroes. An objection was raised if one see a Negro, which is a strange creature, a very red or very white person. In other words, this is saying a lighter complexion Negro or an albino Negro, still what? Strange creatures. If you see a deformed Negro, that's why you see hunchback or dwarf, right? That is short. All regardless, anyone that's from the Negroes are strange creatures. So they taught that Adam is the progenitor of strange creatures, and now they are describing those strange creatures, the Negro. Seth, which they say all the other races come from, all the other nations come from, but we, the Negro, whom this rabbi said is excluded from the world to come, they view us as strange creatures. But yet our brothers and sisters are doing the very thing that Harry Belafonte said, that Martin Luther King said to him, that he has what? He led our people into a burning building. And many of our brothers and sisters are pumping themselves on the chest because they are leading our brothers and sisters into a burning building, because they're teaching out of the Talmud, they're teaching Judaism, they're teaching out of the Midrash, they're embracing these different terms, and they are celebrating it, and they're allowing you to help finance this deception, this delusion. Come on, family. Come on, family. Anyone within our community that are teaching out of the Talmud, guess what? They are strangers. They are the ones that are manipulating us, family. Shout outs to my buddy Moxie. Man, look, family, let's show some love to my buddy here. Moxie, thank you for the shout out. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you for the super chat here. And family, show some love to my buddy Moxie here. And if you haven't subscribed to his channel, subscribe to his channel. And moderators, if Moxie, if you're not able to do it, moderators, drop his link inside the comments section. Really appreciate you, my buddy. Really appreciate it. That's my man right there. All right. So I just proved to you, and I'm going to give you more. We're going to go into their doctrine of the Talmud, which is anti-scriptures, right? We're going to go inside this doctrine here, and I'm going to prove to you, continue to prove to you, that they teach that we are strange creatures and that Adam is the progenitor of the strange creatures, but all the other nations come by way of Seth. All right. So I really appreciate it, family. Show some love to my buddy Moxie. Now, notice what it says here. On seeing an elephant, but notice here, an ape or a long-tailed ape. Blessed says, One says, blessed is he who makes strange creatures. So guess what, family? They are now having us lumped in with apes, long-tailed apes. Remember, that's how they describe Adam, as having a tail or a sting. And he is the father, the progenitor of strange creatures. And see, that's what these colonizers, this is and these name stealers, that's what they refer to our people as apes. They believed that we had tails. But look at the scientific evidence. Have you seen any one of us being born with a tail? No, but there's some people in other communities that is proof that some of them were born with tails. But yet we are placed under this stereotype. So we see here on seeing an elephant, an ape, or a long-tailed ape, one says, blessed is he who makes strange creatures. So why is the Negro referred to as strange creatures, family? Why? Why is the Negro in the same breath with apes? Why? Well, let's go to the Sanhedrin 108b. We're all up in that Talmud. We're exposing this stuff, right? Notice what it says here about Ham. Notice the curse of Ham, the source, the origin of this, where it comes from. This is coming out of the Talmud, Sanhedrin 108b. It says, our rabbis taught 3 copulated in the ark, and they were all punished. The dog, the raven, and Ham. Because of course, when you do the research and when they say the dog, the original dogs, right? Because what we see today, these are different breeds of dogs. And keep in mind, there wasn't all these different breeds of dogs. So this is why when you start going into the ancient and you start studying about dogs, they were pretty much like how we see today, like German shepherds, or matter of fact, Belgian shepherds, which is all black. Kind of like when you look at the Egyptians, they have I think his name is Anubis, right? Who was kind of like that god of the afterlife, leading their souls, the dead souls, over into the afterlife. But it looks like matter of fact, not a Belgian shepherd, but like I want to say Doberman pincher, right? Pincher, right? So it looks sort of like a Doberman. All right. But nevertheless, it says the dog being black, the raven being black, and Ham. The dog was known to be tied. The raven expectorates. In other words, this is getting into the gross stuff. And it says, and Ham was smitten in his skin. So this is where the curse of Ham comes from. So in the footnotes, it says an example from him descended Cush, the Negro, who is black skinned. Right? It's right here before us, family. And matter of fact, let me zoom it in so to make sure that no one will say that I'm misquoting the source. Our rabbis taught 3 copulated in the ark, and they were all punished: the dog, the raven, and Ham. The dog was doomed to be tied. The raven expectorates his seeds into his mate's mouth, and Ham was smitten in the skin. So it said that they were on the ark copulating. They were on the ark being intimate. They were on the ark doing whatever they were doing among each other. And the Most High punished them with these punishments right here, and said that because of this, Ham was smitten with his skin. In other words, this is introducing the dark skin, right? According to their literature. So there were no flaws in all of Yahweh's creation. I want to make it clear. There were no flaws in all Yahweh's creation, because when we go to Genesis, right, chapter 26 and 27, and we skip down to verse 31, notice what it says. It says, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Notice this, verse 27. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. And when we skip down to verse 31, notice what it says. And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, hey, the ha, which is the 5th letter, ha, pay attention, ha, or in the Israeli, hey, pay attention. It was good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day. So here it said that when the Most High created, at the end of his creation, everything was good. There was no flaws in his creation. This completely knocks down this stuff that we see that is anti-Torah, that many of our brothers and sisters are embracing. All right. So the Talmud is clear that the Negro is a different type of black. That's right. So let's see here how the Talmud influenced other religious systems, such as the Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's go to the Watchtower. Let's see what the Watchtower, July 15th, 1920. Let's see what it says about the Negro. It says here, the white race exhibits some qualities of superiority over any other. We are to remember that there are wide differences in the same Caucasian, in other words, Semitic and Aryan. You see how they was listing that the Caucasians are Semitic and Aryan families. And also we should remember that some of the qualities which have given here, he foretold that the degeneracy would mark the posterity of Canaan, degrading him, making him servile. We are not able to determine to a certainty that the sons of Ham or Ham and Canaan are the Negroes, but we consider that general view was probable as any other. So that was the general view that all religious systems, including Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, and all the denominations that came from within Catholicism, they all were teaching that Ham, right? The Negroes, the reason why we have this dark skin is because of the curse of Ham. That's what they call the curse of Ham. Here's another proof. Golden Age, they're still dealing with the Jehovah's Witness literature, July 24th, 1929, right? It says here, is there anything in the Bible that reveals the origin of the Negro? Answer: it is generally believed that the curse which Noah pronounced upon Canaan was the origin of the black race. Certain it is that when Noah said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants, he shall be unto his brethren," he pictured the future of the colored race. They have been and are a race of servants. But now in the dawn of the 20th century, we are all coming to see this matter. Notice what it says here: of service in its true light, and to find that the only real joy in life is in serving others, not bossing them. There is no servant in the world as good as a colored servant. This is the Jehovah's Witnesses that many of our brothers and sisters have migrated to, right? Their place of worship. All right. But the Mormons, for many of our Hebrew brothers and sisters, many of them are practicing Mormonism. We got some Mormon brews. Notice what they say about our people that our brothers and sisters are gravitating to. This is, let me go back here. This is Bruce R. McConkey's Mormon Doctrine, 1958 edition, page 107 and 108, the mark of Cain. Let's see what they say here, family. To illustrate, Cain, Ham, and the whole Negro race have been cursed with a black skin, the mark of Cain, so they can be identified as a caste. In other words, we get into a racist system, a caste system, cast apart, a people with whom the other descendants of Adam should not intermarry. So Adam was created in the image of Yah, right? That's what the scripture tells us. So they, according to the Judaism, their doctrine, Adam is the progenitor of strange creatures. The Negroes are strange creatures. Adam was created in the image of Yah. So now they are saying that, guess what? Yah, according to the Jewish community, that Yah, our Elohim, is a strange creature. That's what they're saying. They call him their gods Ein Sof, right? They refer to our Elohim, our Yahweh Elohim, as what? Strange creatures, right? Their deity that they worship is actually called Ein Sof, which is the infinite one. Let me play this clip real quick, and I'll show, I'll read a source. I'll pull it on the screen to give you clarity of this Ein Sof, which is referred to their infinite one. So notice what this person say about God before God, because according to the Kabbalah, the Ein Sof created our Elohim, right? So listen to what they say here, and we're going to confirm it right here. Notice what this rabbi say, this Jewish professor say.
This is how the Zohar interprets the opening words of Genesis. The Hebrew is Bereshit bara Elohim, which we usually translate, in the beginning, God created. But the Zohar insists on reading the words in the precise order in which they appear in Hebrew. Bereshit, in the beginning, bara, it created, Elohim, God. In the beginning, it created God. The Zohar takes that to mean, in the beginning, infinity created God. Now, what could that possibly mean? God is now the object of the verse, not the subject, which sounds impossible or heretical, but the Zohar, I think, is saying that infinity is the true reality of God. Anything else that we call God is puny compared to that. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
So you heard with your own ears this person saying that infinity created God. See, family, be careful. You know, people can sound very convincing. They can sound very confident in what they say. They can sound like they're really deep and actually be leading you astray. Like this person that we just listened to. He said infinity created God. He said, I may sound a little heretical, but infinity created God, right? So that infinity, that infinite one that he is referring to is Ein Sof. All right, so let me prove this to you. Let me prove it to you, right? Ein Sof or Ein Sof, right? Because we see that it says here, Ein Sof or Ein Sof, all right? The Segal, we see the Segal, actually this should be under here, right? But anyway, all right? So it'll be Ein Sof, right? But it says here, the infinite, literally, that which is boundless, name given in Kabbalah to God transcendent in his pure essence. But notice what you see, the infinite. So that's why he said, you know, the infinity, he said infinity created God. What he was actually saying, the Ein Sof created Yahweh, Elohim. The Ein Sof created what you guys would say Elohim, but in the ancient is Elohim. Come on, family. It's right in front of us. This is the stuff that they teach. So let's go to Genesis chapter 26, right? Actually, I read this here. I don't need to go into here because I already covered that. So Judaism teaches that their infinite one, the Ein Sof, created our Yahweh. Some of you guys may say Yahuwah, some would say Yahweh, but his ancient pronunciation of his name is Yahweh, which means he exists. So Judaism teach that their infinite one, which is called the Ein Sof, created our Yahweh, Abba Yah, in other words, the Father. So Israel also reject the true Negro Messiah, right? We see that they defecate on Yahweh, the Father. They defecate on Adam. They defecate on all the Negroes. And I'm going to show you how they defecate. And notice that I'm using the word defecate because I'm going there for a reason. Let's see what they say about the Israel, how Israel, that Israel over there, how they reject the true Negro Messiah. Notice what it says here. The Negro Israelite Messiah is what I want to say. So what does the Talmud, their false Torah, say about the Negro Messiah? Look at what it says. The Talmud also profaned the existence of the Messiah, right? So even though the Talmud says that he existed, but they profane him. On the eve of Passover, Yeshua was hanged. For 40 days before the execution took place, a herald went forth and cried, he is going forth to be stoned because he practiced sorcery and enticed Israel to apostasy. In other words, falling away. This is where you get that word Nephilim. on, that word Nephilim, it means giant, but it also means fallen away. It also means tyrant. So anyone who can say anything in his favor, let him come forward and plead on his behalf. But since nothing was brought forward in his favor, he was hanged on the eve of the Passover. And notice what this says here. Was he not a Mesith? In other words, an enticer. So it's saying that the Messiah was an enticer. He was into witchcraft. He was into soothsaying. He was into necromancy. He was into all these things that the Most High told Israel not to do. All right. But it goes on to say, with Yeshu, however, it was different, for he was connected with the government. In other words, he had royalty and an example influential. So it's saying that he was a government agent. Come on, family. This is even within their doctrine. All right. So I want to make sure when I see a question about Christ being hung on the tree, guess what? The wood, when you look at it, the wood, those wood planks were also referred to as a tree. No, he was not hung on a literal tree. That's not how the Romans did crucifixions. So the tree was also, the cross and tree was transliterated that way. It's kind of like when we see when somebody got capital punishment, right? Somebody will always say, hey, they got the chair, even though they didn't die by way of sitting in the chair and being electrocuted, right? So I'm just saying that I want to make sure we understand that I'm not trying to get into a side conversation, but the Romans did not do execution that way. They hung them on a cross, and this is noted how they did that with so many within Israel. So I'll do a special teaching on that, but not right now. But I'll do a special teaching on that, and we could go through some of the Greek words, and we could deal with some of the transliterations. All right. But I really appreciate that. So tree equal wood. That's all it means. That's right. Florida native. That's all it means. Tree equals wood. All right. But nevertheless, all right. So they say that Christ was an agent, family. All right. So the Talmud also says that Miriam, Christ's mother, was a prostitute. Notice what it says here. Balaam, because that's what they refer to Christ. Balaam, the son of Beor, the soothsayer, a soothsayer, but he was a prophet. Jonathan said, at first he was a prophet, but subsequently a soothsayer. It goes on to say, this is what men say. She who was the descendants of princes and governors played the harlot with carpenters. So guess what? That's referring to Christ, because his father Joseph is referred to as a carpenter, and the Messiah is referred to as the carpenter's son. So it's saying that, referring to Christ as Balaam, and that Miriam was a prostitute. And this is just dealing with the footnotes, giving clarity here. All right, let's fast forward. All right. So what does the Talmud say about adultery? See, we could go right down the list, right? According to the Talmud, right? Someone from the Jewish community can have an affair with what they call a Gentile and not be punished. It's only adultery if he or she has an affair with someone that's within the Jewish community's wife or spouse. That's what this is saying here, right? It says here, and notice what it says, right? Another man's wife, right? A man, see, in the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. That the man excludes a minor that committeth adultery with another man's wife, excludes the wife of a minor. See, man, there's all kinds of crazy stuff here. But notice what it says here. Even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife excludes the wife of a heathen. So if they slept with another man's wife, guess what? If he was not a Jew per se, it's not considered adultery. Shall surely be put to death by strangulation. Anyway, I'm not going to read all of that. So, but anyway, let's get back to that. That was one that I had here. I forgot to take out. But notice how they defecate. Like I said, they defecate on Christ. Now, according to the Talmud, they say that Christ practiced necromancy, right? This is coming from Gideon, right? It says Onklios. then went and raised Jesus the Nazareth from the grave through necromancy, right? You know what that is, talking to the dead, which is forbidden in scripture. Onkelos said to him, who is most important in that world where you are now? Jesus said to him, the Jewish people. Onkelos asked him, should I then attach myself to them in this world? Jesus said unto him, the welfare you seek, you shall seek, their misfortune you shall not seek. For anyone who touches them is regarded as if he's touching the apple of his eye. So they teach that Christ, guess what? He was practicing necromancy. So now we see here, they also teach in the Talmud that Christ is what? He is boiling in feces, hot dung, right? Notice what it says here. So Onkelos, right? And, you know, if you go into the details of this, it's deal with Balaam, and they use the name synonymous with Christ. It's all inside here, but I just took some notes out of here, some bullets out of here. Onkelos said to him, what is the punishment of that man? A euphemism for Jesus himself in the next world? Jesus said to him, he is punished with boiling excrements. And the master said, anyone who mocks the words of the sages will be sentenced to boiling excrements. And it says, and this was his sin, as he mocked the words of, right. I highlighted this here. Just make sure you guys see the name Jesus, excrements, dung, doo-doo, right? Boiling excrements, dung, doo-doo, right? All right, so in a nutshell, family, I'm not going to get into all of this. This is just dealing with necromancy. Let me see if just dealing with excrements as well. I'm seeing what else do I have. All right, so I'm just fast forwarding to this right here. All right, family. So I'm giving you a lot of information. I'm not going to go too much into it. I mean, go into it. I'm not going to go too much further into it because there's a lot to uncover. But I want you to see and hear and understand what this literature that these guys are pushing. All right, that these guys are clear that they don't respect the true Father. They don't respect the true Son. They don't respect the holy people, the true holy people of Israel. They created their own. Right? And I'm going to show you that they also teach two Israels, right? That's a whole nother subject. And I'm going to show you that Israel teach that there's two Israels. All right. So I'm going to pause right here. Let me get some shout outs here. See if I missed any. All right. Want to give some shout outs to, I didn't see here, Trayvon Chapman. Thank you for this, the super chat. Milk is MC Light's cousin. That's right. That I made reference to. Milk is chilling. Giz is chilling. What more can I say? Top billing. And that was the name of the song, Top Billing. Really appreciate it for the love and support. And again, appreciate my buddy Moxie for the love and support. And also Sister Jacqueline, thank you for the super sticker. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the love and support. So family, again, I share with you a lot of information tonight, that these people don't care about what Torah says, because they have their own Torah, right? Let me play a couple of clips for you guys to get an understanding of this. This is what they say without their Talmud. This is what they say what the Talmud would be without what the Torah would be, the law and the prophets, the first 5 books of the Bible. Let's see what they say about what it would be had it not been for the Talmud.
We would not know how to live on the Sabbath if it were not for the oral law. We would not know what the dietary laws of kashrut are if it were not for the oral law. We would not know what the tefillin, what the boxes on our arms and heads that we wear every morning in our prayer service, what they're supposed to be. And in fact, all of Judaism would be completely mysterious, would be voodoo if it were not for the oral law.
that without the Talmud, Judaism or the Torah would be voodoo. Said it would be voodoo. Now, when you think of voodoo, what group of people what comes to mind when you deal with voodoo? Come on, family. Not only did he say this about the Talmud, right? Notice what this rabbi said about Adam. Remember, Adam is a strange creature. So therefore, Adam is a strange creature. In other words, what they're saying is a beast, is an animal, because up until Seth is actually the progenitor of the human race according to their doctrine. So because of that, this is why they have teaching. This is a rabbi teaching Adam sleeping with animals.
Milamed, it teaches us that Adam not only named the animals, but he dated all the animals.
Yeah, family, you heard it with your own ears. You heard it with your own ears. Come on, family. You can't make it up. Well, let me play a little bit more of that clip, because some will try to get super deep, saying that they need context. So let me give you supposed context. All right. Let me let you hear it a little more. Let me let you hear the entire clip that I uploaded here. So it's always going to be that handful that say they need more context. All right. So let's play it.
Milamed, it teaches us that Adam not only named the animals, but he dated all the animals. But he was not able to be at peace with any of them until finally Chava was created.
Hashem didn't have a problem with that?
I mean, dated means, I'm trying to use a nice word.
What does dated means? What do you mean by dated?
Dated means he took her out to Pisgah.
Dated.
They went out to the Chosan. They had a little, Monte.
Relationship? Not relationship, just let's keep it rated PG.
We're going to keep it rated PG for the G for grandmas for this discussion. But
So family, there you have it. I could go further into it. I can show you that when they say in the world to come, right? Let's skip down here real quick, because I might as well touch on it a little bit. Yeah, let's touch on it. Because I like to show sources, right? Let's touch on it. Numbers chapter 24, starting at verse 23. Notice this prophecy here. And he took up his parable and said, Alas, who shall live when Elohim doeth this? And ships shall come from the coast of Chittim, and shall afflict Ashar. But notice what it says here, and shall afflict Eber. In other words, the Hebrews. This is what it's referring to. It shall afflict the Hebrews, Ibar, right? And he shall perish forever. But these ships, right? These are warships, right? Chittim shall afflict the Hebrews with their ships. Who is Chittim? Right? When we go to Genesis chapter 3, notice what we see. Chapter 10, rather, verse 3. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah, and the sons of Javan. Right? So we see Chittim is a son of Javan. So now guess who we're dealing with? Now we're dealing with the Romans and the Greeks. Right? So let's go to the Hebrew dictionary definition of Chittim. Notice what it says. Denoting Cyprus, but it goes on to say an islander in general, an example, the Greeks or the Romans. Okay, we're dealing with the Greeks or the Romans. And when we go to the Eastern Bible Dictionary, notice what we see here. The name of a branch of descendants of Javan, the son of Japheth, Balaam foretold that ships shall come from the coast of Chittim and afflict Eber. Come on, family. It's right here. And we're dealing with the Hebrews. Okay. All right. What else do we want to highlight? All right. So it says whose ancient capital was called Kition, rather, by the Greeks. Okay, so the nations were guilty of what? Capturing and selling Judah as slaves. Now, did the Jewish community, as we know them, dominate the transatlantic world war? See, this is one of the communities, and this is why they're the only community that can be on both sides of the fence. They dominated the transatlantic world war, but then at the same breath, they try to tell us that, yeah, we walk with Martin Luther King during the civil rights. When actually, when we look at the civil rights, guess what? All the communities that call themselves being there for the civil rights, it was really for their own agenda. The pronoun groups, guess what? They say that they were there for the civil rights, but all the verbiage protects everyone but the Negro now. It gave the smoke screen. It gave the illusion that the civil rights laws and all of that was for our community, when actually the verbiage was for everyone outside of our community. They're actually using that to what? Come at our community. All right. Especially when you start looking up at the border education, when you look up Title VI. Right. So anyway, let's see what let me read a source here. Right. This is my Jewish learning. It says the role of some Jews played in the Atlantic trade as traders. Actually, I want to let me go further. I want to go to another source, because this one just showing the deception of this article on the choice of words. But I want to go to an actual source, right? Let's go here. You guys remember this? Jews and Judaism in the United States, a documented history. I encourage you guys to buy this book. It's pretty pricey. I'm just warning you guys. It is a pricey book. But notice what it says here. Jews also took an active part in the Dutch colonial trade, slave trade, indeed by laws of recipe and Mauritius. If I pronounce, forgive me if I butchered the name. I'm Spanish, it's not my thing. Congregations, 1648, included an imposta, in other words, a Jewish tax of 5 soldos for each Negro slave a Brazilian Jew purchased. So we see them purchasing slaves from the West Indies Company. Slave auctions were postponed if they fell on a Jewish holiday. In Caraco, excuse me if I butcher this, forgive me, family, and forgive me for those that are out there in like the Brazil and all. Forgive me for butchering. This is not my language here, my specialty. So my forgiveness. I'm asking for forgiveness. So, but anyway, so it's I think it's Caraco or Crazy. I know I'm butchering it, but notice what it says in the 7th century, as well as in the British colonies of Barbados and Jamaica in the 18th century, Jewish merchants, notice what it says, played a major role in the slave trade. Come on, family. Come on, family. We're not pulling any punches. How is it that they can do all their thing or do everything that they can to our community, but we cannot say anything? They can talk about whatever things that they have going on in their community, but we can't talk about including what they have done into our community. They are in right now lobbying to have laws passed that if we mention anything far as them having hands in a nutshell of being what? Major players in the slave trade, even though this is a Jewish document right here, even in the Jewish publication that I read to you guys, part of it, all of them say that the Jewish community dominated dominated the slave trade. But if you say that, that can be anti-Semitism according to how they defined the word. So again, it says here, right? As well as the British colonies of Barbados, Jamaica in the 18th century. Notice what it says here, family. It says Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. So it goes on to say here, it says, in fact, in all the American colonies, whether French, British, Dutch, it says it didn't matter whether in the United States, the American colonies, whether French, whether it's British, whether it says, or the Dutch, the Jewish merchants frequently dominated. No matter where the slave trade was extended to, they dominated. That's what this is saying. It goes on to say this was no less true on the North American mainland, where during the 18th century, Jews participated in the triangular trade that brought slaves from Africa to the West Indies, and they exchanged them for molasses. Y'all better understand, when you are buying that sugar from Domino's sugar, right? Domino's sugar, guess what? That's they dominate. That's what those sugar, they own sugar plantation. That's from this community right here. Leave that Domino's sugar alone. Our ancestors were mutilated, right, to produce and generate wealth for that company. It says here, and their exchange them for molasses, which in turn was taken to New England and converted into rum for sale in Africa. Isaac da Costa of Charleston in the 1750s, David Franks of Philadelphia, Aaron Lopez of Newport in the late 1760s, 1770s, dominated the Jewish slave trading on the American continent. And they are all what? From the Jewish community. Come on, family. No one is lying. But guess what? They have so much influence that even when you tell the truth, they have now classified it as lies. Come on, family. That's the playbook right now. They are lobbying to have all these things classified as lies. So these three Jewish slave owners dominated the slave trade at their locations. Guess what? Are very deceptive. Like the article is very deceptive in how they mentioned. And this is the article right here, but I don't want to break this down. That's what this is referring to. So I really don't want to get into the article. All right. But I just want to just show you guys here that they dominated, right? These guys dominated. Matter of fact, the entire community dominated, as I highlighted. It goes on to say, and these European outposts, the Jews, with their years of mercantile experience and network of friends and family, providing market reports of great use, played a significant role in the merchant capitalism, commercial revolution, and territorial expansion that developed the New World and established the colonial economies. The Jewish Caribbean nexus provided Jews with the opportunity to claim what? A disproportionate influence in the 17th, 18th century New World commerce. See, family, we've been in that New World, and guess who's been running it? It says right here, to claim a disproportionate influence in the 17th and 18th century New World commerce and enable West Indian Jewry, far outnumbering its co-religionists. So it's saying all the other religious groups, whether it's the Catholic Church, whether it's Islam, that's right, brothers and sisters, the Muslims, guess what? That whole religion had us enslaved as well. So whether it's Catholicism, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, guess what? The Jewish community even was outdoing them. Further north to enjoy a centrality, which North American Jewry would not achieve for a long time to come. Groups of Jews began to arrive in Suriname in the middle of the 17th century after the Portuguese regained control of northern Brazil. By 1694, 27 years after the British had surrendered Suriname to the Dutch, there was about 100 Jewish families and 50 single Jews there, or about 570 persons. They possessed more than 40 estates. Man, when you start understanding 40 estates, when you start understanding these plantations, you're talking about thousands of acres. And 9,000 slaves contributed 25,905 pounds of sugar as a gift for the building of a hospital, and carried on an active trade with Newport and other colonial ports. By 1730, Jews owned 115 plantations and were a large part of a sugar export, which sent out 21,680,000 pounds of sugar to Europe or European and New World markets in 1730 alone. Just that 1 year, 1730, over 21 million pounds of sugar. At the mutilation of our ancestors. Slave trading was a major feature. Let me say that again, family, because I know that they're going to try, when I say they, many are going to try to troll and try to come up with ways to try to, in their minds, debunk what I'm teaching here, but they can't, because I have receipts on top of receipts on top of receipts on top of receipts. They're going to try to, they're going to try to see whatever they can to try to debunk this, but they can't, because I'm using their sources from people that was from their community who wrote this source that I'm using right now. But see, it's easy. It's easy for them to what? Get away with it, or try to blacklist people, or should I say whitelist people, because I don't like to use that word blacklisted. Whitelist people is because they are the ones that are the major influencers. As we see here, it said that they were the major influencers, right? So both North American and Caribbean Jews played a key role in this commerce. All right. So family, let me fast forward. I think that's all I'm going to deal with. All right. We'll stop right here, family. I just want to, because I didn't put all the stuff here, because there's some slave ships that I can highlight that our brothers and sisters were being that was owned by these guys, that cannibalism was in full effect on many of these ships. I got the manifest, the names of the captains and all that was running captained the ships and had their own teams and all that. I have that. I have all of that. All right, but I didn't include that in this study tonight. All right, but I just wanted to add that little nugget there, because I know it's going to be some that may try to, a handful that may try to say that I'm pushing hate speech. No, this is not hate speech. This is given history, And I want to say again, fair use for the clips that I played, so that way no one try to come and do that sideways with that. So again, family, I hope this helps you. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Really appreciate you guys for the love and support, for tuning in tonight. But yes, that's right. Florida native, they were cannibalism on some of those slave ships. They were actually, matter of fact, since I mentioned it, let me see something here. Man, come on. See, Florida native, you had me mention it, and I don't like to just say something without showing the sources. So let me bring it up real quick. Let me see here. And actually, I don't even like to say slave ships. I like to say warships, because they were actually warships. There was no slave ships. They were warships. Had cannons and all that stuff on there. Let's see if I can find it. All right, bear with me 1 second here. All right. Bear with me 1 second. I thought I had it here. And then we'll wrap up. And again, that book that I made reference to, let me copy it in the chat. It is by a rabbi by the name of Mark Lee Raphael. Let me drop that in the chat real quick. All right, that's the source. That book is pretty pricey. Let's see here. All right, let's see if I can find that one, and I'll bring it up here real quick. All right, let's see. All right. I think it's this one right here. Let me make sure. All right, let me see if it's on this one. I believe it is. I think I located it. Yeah. Let me pull this one up. I'm going to swap this one out. All right. I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to give you some additional information. And the person when I focused on here was all right, let's see here. Lopez. Let me close this out. All right, let's go ahead and fix this here. Let me swap this here. All right, now let me bring this one up. I got presentations for days upon days. Let me bring this one up here. All right. All right. Hit the thumbs up if you can see this presentation. All right. Hit the thumbs up. All right. So this is the book that I made reference to. Let me go back here. All right. This is the book that I made reference to. This is where the person we're going to focus on for now, right, is going to be Aaron Lopez. All right. And let's see what they say about Aaron Lopez. Okay. Let me fast forward. This is coming from Juniverse, right? This is actually a website. This is a Jewish publication. Notice what they say here. At his prime in the 18th century, Aaron Lopez was the wealthiest man in Newport, Rhode Island. He didn't get that way by taking the moral high ground. Born in 1731, Portuguese converso Jews, Lopez practiced Catholicism and openly Judaism behind closed doors. Upon resettling in Newport in 1752, he headed a booming mercantile business. Not long after, he became a key supplier of munitions. And don't get bothered when you see that he was a Sephardic Jew, because you had dark Sephardic Jews who was being enslaved. And guess what? You had Caucasian Sephardic Jews that was doing the enslavement. So I have the documents to prove that. So I want to make this clear. Don't get caught up when you see Sephardic, right? Because again, he was a Caucasian. All right. But anyway, let me do something real quick. All right. So it says here about this guy here. It goes on to say, Lopez was said to have had at least partial ownership of over 30 transoceanic ships and more than 100 coastal vessels. So this is saying he had stake in over 130 vessels. It says he was also a great promoter of positive interfaith relationships. So basically, in a nutshell, saying he was a religious person. Go figure. Departing from his dock on either the Jewish or Christian Sabbath, so Saturday and Sunday. In fact, the Lisbon-born businessman became such a mainstay of the Jewish community that he laid one of the cornerstones. All right. So notice what this says here. This is now going a little further, give me some information about some of the ships that Lopez owned, right? Notice what it said, I'm not going to read all of this just because it's a lot of information, but these are some of the ships. Give me some information on the ships he owned. But I want to skip to one particular ship. Let me see if I could get there. Right? Let me see here. Because it's one ship I want to highlight. Right now, notice this here. You know how many of the conscious community want to say, hey, they had a ship called the Good Jesus. Okay. Well, guess what? They had a slave ship that was owned by him, this Jewish guy called Cleopatra, right? You see it right here. Ship Cleopatra was diverted from the project fourth voyage to London and prepared instead for Africa. With Cleopatra went sloop Mary William England or Mary Wingham, excuse me, I'm messing up tonight. Mary William English captain, which was to serve as tender to the larger vessel. These were the first 2 of 7 voyages. So you see a slave ship called Cleopatra. So guess what? They could talk about the ship called Jesus, but what about the one called Cleopatra? All right. Throw that on the conscious community. Okay. So, and we see right here, notice this here, ship Cleopatra, Captain Nathaniel Briggs. So these are just giving you some of the different captains on each one of these ships, right? But it's one that I want to get to. Let me see if I could get to here. The cannibalism is what I really want to get to. All right. Like this, the Cleopatra, right? Right. This is the Cleopatra. And there's something that happened on this Cleopatra. I want to highlight it here. It says here, Cleopatra, quite unexpected, so early, arrived at Barbados on January 11, 1771, with a cargo of 96 slaves. And Mary came in about the same time. Although the trade on the coast of Africa had been reported extremely dull and the prices of slaves high, nevertheless, something went sour. Haley and Hopkins, Lopez chief London correspondents, in a letter of June 8th, 1771 to Lopez, acknowledged with concern the disappointment you experienced in the remittance intended for us from the Cleopatra voyage. And they were also communication with Rivera about the insurance on the cargo. Probably Cleopatra had experienced a very heavy mortality. So here it is. It says, for she brought the much higher number of 230 blacks back to Barbados on her next voyage. So they had so many deaths on this slave ship, on this not slave ship, this warship. Says Cleopatra had experienced very high or very heavy mortality, for she brought the much higher number of 230 blacks to Barbados on her next voyage, right? So why was the mortality rate very high on these slave ships? You know why? White cannibalism, right? Cannibalism was on these slave ships, right? So the Portuguese ship, and this is one of the ships, Aragante, was captured in late November 1837 by the HMS Snake off the coast of Cape San Antonio in Cuba. At the time, her capturing the Aragante had more than 330 Africans on board who all had been embarked in gallinas. All of them were liberated soon after the vessel reached Montego Bay, Jamaica, where soon after their arrival, a chilling mystery surrounded the alleged practices carried out by her captain and crew were also brought to the attention of the local authorities. Shortly after landing, the captain and crew were accused of killing an African man, cooking his flesh, and serving it to the rest of the slaves on board. Additionally, they were also accused of eating the heart and liver of the murdered man. Come on, family. Come on, family. This is getting into, a person. Now I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I know it's inside the article. I talked with Sam Holt, who was eaten after they lynched him. And family cannibalism was going on during these lynchings. Notice right here, it says here, the Negro was deprived of his ears, fingers, and genital parts of his body, but it goes on to say, before the body was cool, it was cut to pieces. The bones were crushed into small bits, and even the tree upon which the wretched met his fate was torn up and disposed as souvenirs. It goes on to say, small pieces of his bone went for 25 cents, and a bit of the liver crisply cooked sold for 10 cents, right? So it says here, knives were quickly produced and soon the body was dismembered. So they had a grill, they had a picnic, so to speak. They were literally, tore his flesh up. They ate him. And to wrap up right here, notice what you see here. This is actually a picture of what? For a dozen of who ears? Family, come on, man. Come on, man. They all contributed to our demise. All of them. All of them. All of them. And these are the same people. When I say people, right? I'm talking about the church, the Christian church, the Catholic church. I'm talking about Judaism. I'm talking about all these different groups that we are allowing them to teach us what love is, teach us what salvation is, teach us what the Messiah is. They done dumbed us down to say Christ loved everybody. Christ died for everybody. That is incorrect. He came to bring redemption to his people. When he was on that cross, guess what? When he said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do, he was not referring to the Romans, because the Israelites that voted him, the Judah who voted to have him crucified, they made it clear with the Roman government to Pontius Pilate, saying, the blood is not on your hands. We take full accountability of our actions. Not knowing what they were talking about, not knowing what the bigger picture of the ramification, because they said not just us, but our children. So guess what? The Most High, being the Redeemer, the next of kin, so to speak, according to the laws in Deuteronomy, the murder laws, had every right to kill all of those Israelites. But guess what? Christ interceded and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Come on, family. Come on, family. That's right, Nat Turner. And it wasn't just Nat Turner. They was doing that on a regular basis, using our skin as leather, using our hair for pillow, to fill up pillows, using our skin again for leather, for shoes, for belts, for pocketbooks. I have all the information. Come on, family. I have the information. I have the documents. So, family, we're going to stop right here. I just wanted to just share that information about the slave ship, since I mentioned it. I also wanted to mention, of course, show you guys the proof about the cannibalism. I want to make sure that you guys understand what we had to go through as a community, right? I want to make sure that I not only, if I'm bringing this up, that I'm giving you the sources that coincide with it, because I know how many would try to do. If I don't show sources, guess what? They would be trying to report me. They would be trying to make all kinds of complaints because I'm sharing, because if I don't share any sources, then that gives them every give them room to try to label me as saying, hey, he's teaching hate. He's teaching. And no, I'm not teaching hate. I'm teaching history. This is documented history that now is being made, or they try to push this thing where, so if you're teaching facts, even if you're using their resources from their own people, it can be classified as anti-Semitic. Come on, family. So with that being said, family, I really appreciate the love and support. Just wanted to do this live. I know I pushed it back a couple of times. I was supposed to do it on Thursday, but then I kicked it back to Friday. But then before you know it, here we are tonight. So I hope and pray that this bless you guys. Let's see how many likes we got off this video, because guess what, family? This is how we grow this channel. This is how we grow what we're doing here. So let's see what we have here. All right, family, we're just we got over 1,100 people inside the building right now. Let's get those likes up. We should be able to hit 1,000 likes before we close out this video. If you guys enjoyed, whether you enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, guess what? Hitting that like and subscribing to the channel, guess what? That can help the channel tremendously. That can help us break the algorithms. Shout outs to my buddy Yah's son. Appreciate it. Great lesson, Pastor. Really appreciate it, my brother. And family, we're going to continue to expose the stuff that we see. All right. Appreciate it. Holding it down Let me do this here. Actually, I thought I was on my StreamYard. Yasin, I was going to put your comments up on the screen. All right, let's see here. All right, let's see here. Yasin, I just saw you here. Yasin, where's your comments here? All right, here we go. All right, appreciate you holding it down. Appreciate all the moderators holding it down. Appreciate you, Sister Joy, for holding it down. I thought I saw another comment here. Victor Wheatley, that's right. We're going to press. We're going to get close to that 59,000 subscribers. We can do it, you know. But I think we'll be able to close that out. Far as hit 60 over the next week or two, just the rate that we've been going. But family, we really thank you for the love and support. But hit that like button. It doesn't cost anything to hit that like button. Really appreciate Yaquaba and family. Yaquaba, man, I'm gonna post this. Let me see here if I could do it real quick. Yaquaba, post the link to that latest single that you uploaded. I meant to make a post of it. Post it inside the comment section. Let the people hear your gift, man. You know, and family, Yaquaba has been a supporter of We Woke Now for years. And family, let's support what he got going on. He's an artist and he's teaching his truth with his words, right? So drop the link inside the comment section before I wrap up here, all right? So again, family, it doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, all right? So let's get those likes up. But with that being said, family, I really appreciate all the love and support. We're going to go ahead and get ready to close out. And we're going to close out with the words of the Most High in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14. Right? He used these words. He said these words to Moses to encourage Israel, who was very discouraged and was ready to go right back into Egypt. The Most High said to Israel, right through Moses, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them ever again. The Most High will fight for you. Here's the kicker. But you have to hold your peace. Calculated silence. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.